Are we de-evolving as humans? Are our societies actually making us less good at being human? And let me explain this. When you think about traditional culture, we had sports, journalism, we had video or TV, music, we had a way of sharing imagery, we had a way of communicating, and we had a way of forming relationships. In a traditional sense, it would mean, we play sports, we read newspapers, we watch films and the TV, we listen to albums, like whole concept albums, start to finish. We go to real galleries with proper art on the wall and we look at them. That we used to write handwritten letters, and relationships were all about courtship, really going slow and getting to know someone and going for dates and then into marriage. Now, if you look at where we are now in what's coined to be a dopamine culture, we don't really play as many sports as we used to. Instead, we gamble on them. We don't really read newspapers anymore. Instead, we just have clickbait headlines that give us no real information. We don't seek for any great depth. And we just continue to flick and scroll through our social media. The videos have therefore become really short form as well, haven't they? We're losing that attention span to like watch a whole film or like watch a whole TV show without being on our phones. Like music has gone from being whole concept albums to now being TikToks, which are like 6 seconds with silly dances. So there's no appreciation for the depth of what's being communicated. Images. We don't go to galleries anymore. We just look at our phone and scroll. And at a rapid pace. So again, we're not really taking any time to really take something in, to contemplate on it. We're too fast because we want that next dopamine hit. Now, the handwritten letters have now become short text, usually abbreviated with emojis and sometimes GIFs. And if you think about it, we're going back to caveman times. In caveman times, they'd use short, sharp language, and they would draw pictures on a cave wall. So we then developed into these more sophisticated forms of communication with greater depth, with greater insight, with more that could be understood and portrayed. And we're sort of rewinding evolutionary clock all the way back to the beginning of time. And in the way that we form relationships, which is the most worrying to me, we've gone from that slow traditional culture of really spending the time to get to know someone and making sure that the relationship's right, and then seeing whether you could ask the father, right, for the hand in marriage. And then when you're married, then your relationship really takes its first big positive steps forward, right? Even being left alone together might have been frowned upon until after you were married. So there would have been lots of sneaking around probably. But there would have been also a much deeper appreciation for each other by the time that you consecrate the marriage. Nowadays, relationships are formed on an app that you swipe, that you're not really interested in the other person. You just like, they look good, they got a few things that are cool. Hey, can we link up? And can I get my leg over? That's just the contrast of where we've come from to where we are now. It's almost like we are going back to like caveman times, right? Like, what would they have done in caveman times? I mean, we can't be sure. But, I mean, the analogy in my mind is like, man walks over to a woman with big club, hits her on the head, throws her over his shoulder and walks up. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, the swipe is not far different from that, is it? Just like swipe matched. It's the equivalent of going, dong, yeah, I love you, off we go, It's not good. We need to consciously work on this. What world do we want to have for our kids? So what do you think of this topic? Do you think the way that our culture has evolved is a positive thing for society, for humanity, for what we can create together? Or do you think it's really moving us backwards to a previous time where we were less evolved, and therefore we're experiencing a moment in time where our humanity is being depleted through every avenue of culture. Which extreme do you sit on? Or do you see a bit of a middle path of these two different perspectives? What do you think? Comment below.